What is up, car addicts? In this video, we'll be talking about this week's 5 times money event week as well as the property and vehicle discounts. This event week is for November 9th through November 15th, 2023. The current prize ride for this week is the Rapid GT Classic. This one is primarily based on the 1970s Aston Martin V8 and used to be available from Legendary Motors website for a price of just under $900,000, but it was a removed website car. So to get this one for free, you have to place top 6 in an LS CarMate Series race for only 2 days in a row, so very easy this week. In regards to performance, it's in the Sports Classics class and is a top 5 competing car on most tracks. Now obviously if we factor in HSW, there's no competition, but with HSW turned off, or for old gen, the Rapid GT Classic is still a very competitive vehicle in that class. Plus it also has some pretty good customization and is very fun to drive as well. Continuing to test drive vehicles for this week, we have the 811, the GP1, and the 9F Cabrio as well. And all 3 of these are removed website cars, so make sure to buy them if you're wanting to get them this week. And for current gen console users, we have the Divest 8 as the HSW test ride vehicle for this week. Continuing to the casino podium vehicle, we have the Ocelot Penetrator. This one is primarily based on the Jaguar XJ220 and has a normal price of just under $900,000. In regards to performance, it's in the supercar class and is around the pace of some of the OG quick supercars like the Entity XF and Furnace, etc. So it's not all that quick, but I think it's still a great looking car that's also really nice to drive as well. Highly recommend it if you like the 90s retro looking supercars. In terms of the dealership cars for this week, for luxury autos, we have the Stinger TT and the Adder, and neither of these are removed website cars, so keep that in mind. Continuing to Simeons, we have the Neo, the Infernus, the Cheetah, the Banshee, and the Locust as well. And all of these, except for the Banshee, were removed website cars, so definitely make sure to pick them up this week if you've been wanting to get them. Moving on to discounts, in terms of property discounts, we have 50% off the CEO offices. Plus, we also have 50% off the import-export vehicle warehouses as well. I highly recommend both of these if you don't already own them, especially at half price. That is a very good deal. Continuing to vehicle discounts, we have 40% off the 9F Cabrio from a test ride. This one is of course a removed website car. It's an OG sports car from 2013 and still currently sits in top 30 for that class, which honestly isn't too bad for an OG sports car. It's very quick and nice to drive, plus it does offer some customization as well. I think it's definitely worth picking up this week, especially at this price. Next up, we have 40% off the GP1 from a test ride, another removed website car. This one is based on the legendary McLaren F1 with great detail both inside and out, also having a unique interior, plus it has great customization as well. It's one of my favorite cars in the game and one that I highly recommend buying if you don't already own it. Continuing, we have 40% off the 811, which again was also a removed website car. This one's in the supercar class and has the highest non-HSW top speed in the supercar class. However, its handling is absolutely terrible. It pretty much drives like an old muscle car, just not all that great. But it's still a pretty good looking car and is somewhat fun to drive on mainly highways and stuff. Next up, we have 40% off the Neo from Simeons. Again, another removed website car. This one's in the sports class and is still a top 5 competing sports car around most tracks. And if you don't factor in HSW, it's very competitive in top 3 on most tracks. It has great customization and awesome styling. Although I will say the back end isn't all that stable and it does tend to step out on you if you're not careful. Continuing, we have 50% off the Infernus from Simeons. Again, a removed website car. This is an OG supercar that isn't all that quick these days, but it's still a great OG car in terms of its styling. And for this price, it might be worth considering buying if you don't own it anymore. I think it's a pretty cool car. Next up, we have 50% off the Cheetah from Simeons. Again, also a removed website car. Pretty much the same story as the Infernus on this one. And lastly, for Simeons, we have 40% off the Locust. Again, a removed website vehicle as well. So this one's in the sports class, and although it looks like a car that would have incredible handling, it sadly doesn't. It pretty much handles and performs like any normal sports car, Plus, I've always felt it's a bit strange looking, just not all that special, at least in my opinion. And lastly, onto the Warstock website, we have 25% off the Raiju jet that released with the recent Mercenaries DLC. This is currently the fastest aircraft in the game with a top speed of over 230 miles per hour. Now, its cannons aren't that great, but I do think it's well worth its normal price in GTA Online, and at 25% off, I think it's honestly a no-brainer to buy it if you've been wanting to get it. It's a great jet for sure. Next up, onto vehicle upgrade discounts. For those of you on current gen, we have a massive 50% off the HSW conversion cost upgrade this week for all the cars that offer HSW, which is just insane. So you guys can definitely save a ton of money this week upgrading some of your cars. Now, in regards to community challenges this month, the Sprunk versus eCola challenge is back. So as a community, if we drink over 100 million cans of Sprunk and eCola this month, we'll unlock the custom Sprunk and eCola vanity plates, Sprunk and eCola bodysuits, and a Sprunk and eCola livery for the Raiju jet later this year. And lastly, we have the Simeon's Employee of the Month challenge, which is running through November 15th. So if the community collectively earns over 15 billion from Simeon exports, we will receive a special livery for an unknown new car later this year in the new DLC. Now, usually Rockstar gives us a free DLC car for these challenges, but not this time. We're just getting a livery. That kind of sucks, but I guess it is what it is. Moving on to the gun van, we have the following weapons available this week. Continuing to 5 times money, we have 5 times money NRP on taxi work. Now, on average, you normally get about $1,500 for each fare, and each one takes about 3 minutes depending. So at 5 times money, that means you would get about $7,000 to $8,000 on average for each fare that takes about 3 minutes, which honestly isn't terrible, but obviously it's nowhere near the best money-making methods in the game. But hey, it's still fun for those of you who like doing roleplay and stuff like that. Continuing to triple money, we have triple money NRP on the adversary mode kill quota, plus triple money NRP on VIP work and challenges. This one's actually very substantial. And triple money NRP on Simeon export requests. Continuing to double money, we have double money NRP on the import-export business. It's been a long time since we've seen this bonus on this business, so this is a great one for sure. And lastly, for the time trials, this week's normal time trial was Pillbox Hill. I highly recommend a quick bike for this one. For the premium race this week, we have the Supercar Race Business Trip. I highly recommend the Emirates, Krieger, Devastate, or LM87 for this race. And if you're on current gen, I highly recommend using the HSW Weaponized Ignis or the HSW Devastate. And lastly, for current gen console users, the HSW Time Trial is Terminal. As always, the HSW Hakachu Driver with the best one for these. In terms of my vehicle discount pick of the week, I'm going to have to go with the GP1. It's 40% off, and the fact that you can get a car that's based on the legendary McLaren F1 that's well detailed with an exclusive interior, great customization, and a nice driving experience as well for under $1 million, I think it's just an absolute steal. Anyways guys, overall this event week is actually really good in my opinion. Tons of remove website cars available on sale with good discounts, and great triple and double money opportunities. Not bad Rockstar, not bad at all. But anyways, again guys, thanks for watching, hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.